Thanks for joining today's snapshot for Monday, November 23rd. I'm going to say a couple of things about events on the calendar coming up, but first I want to talk about what we celebrate at Dr. Martin Luther Church and in other churches around the world on this day, November 23rd. It's the feast day of St. Clement of Rome. There was a Clement of Alexandria, who was also an important leader of the early church. And St. Clement of Rome was important because he's named by St. Paul in St. Paul's last letter, the letter to the Philippians, where he asks for prayer and support for some women who support the ministry and also for Clement. And he wrote a letter, Clement did, to the church at Corinth around 90 AD. And in that time period, that letter had the same import as Paul's epistles. It was read for nearly 100 years in the church in Corinth, and it shaped the early church, in part because the letter talked about apostolic authority. In other words, what's the hierarchy of the church as it tried to organize itself? He wrote that letter before some of the other portions of the New Testament were written, so it was really important. He talked about the role of overseers and bishops and presbyters. That's not surprising because he was the first bishop of Rome after Peter. In other words, he was the second pope. And it's no wonder that he took that argument for apostolic authority. He converted many pagans, and for that he was martyred by the Emperor Trajan. And he died in 99. I don't know if it was on November 23rd. I frankly couldn't find out why it's this day that he is remembered. He was drowned in the Black Sea with an anchor put around his neck. And since that time, there has been an anchor cross. Take a look at it. And the anchor cross is in honor of St. Clement, who is the patron saint of mariners. Now, interestingly, you've heard of San Clemente, where Nixon had his villa in California. That's right off San Clemente Island, which was discovered by a Spanish explorer in 1602. What day did he discover it? On November 23rd. So he named the island in honor of St. Clement or San Clemente. Well, I also want to tell you about some things going on this week. I want to remind you that next Sunday at 10 o'clock, we will again have drive-through communion since we will not be having indoor worship that day. Several people came by between 10 and 10:30. And you know, this Sunday is the first Sunday of the church year, Advent 1. And it would be a great way to start the year, celebrating communion and receiving the bread and wine. So I urge you to stop by on Sunday. Also, I wanted to let you know that there will be a snapshot tomorrow morning, and then tomorrow night, there will be a posting of a midweek Thanksgiving service. Happily, Pastor Gary Litke volunteered to lead that service, and he will be leading it. It's already been taped. And I'll say more about that tomorrow. And then also on Friday, there will be another snapshot. And I hope you will watch that, although that will be only on Facebook. It will not be on the church's webpage. So you're going to have to look for that on Friday. I'll remind you again of that tomorrow. Well, that's enough by way of announcements so far. There'll probably be another one this week. I hope it's an important one. And we'll close with a hymn, Rejoicing in the Saints, like St. Clement. Rejoice in God's saints today and all days. A world without saints forgets how to praise. Their faith in acquiring the habit of prayer, their depth of adoring, Lord, help us to share. God bless you today.